Hi.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so happy that you're here.
I'm stoked to be here. Thank you for having me. Send us flowers. I mean, come on. It's the best. It's the most fun time. I love what you do. I love your guests. So I'm just grateful to be here. Thank you.
I've been giddy, ever since you said yes.
Oh my God. When you reached out, I was like, I planned what I was going to bring. The first one being the golden latte that we're sipping on, the things I was like, I want Liz to just enjoy and feel great because you make people feel so good. So it's like,
no, but so do you.
Oh, thanks.
And that's why I'm sending you flowers. And so, everyone, welcome Mary Jane Gibson, the Mary Jane Gibson.
I'm one of them. There's another one in Kansas who does like watercolors and travels around the country in her RV.
That's like low-key pretty cool, actually.
I know. So I'm the other one.
I'm like, wait a minute.
She's the
What's
Mary Jane Gibson.
What's she up to?
She's the Midwest Mary Jane Gibson.
Okay, that's pretty neat. But you're just like the Mary Jane Gibson.
Aw,
at least for now, until I meet her. Then we can have a competition.
Yeah, we can have a Mary Jane Gibson off. Fight to the death.
But welcome to Send Us Flowers. I, of course, am sending you flowers. I've sent you flowers on this episode or on this podcast before. And now I get to do it in real life, which is such a gift and an honor.
Thank you so much. I tuned into your episode with Natasha where you guys were chatting, and I was like, my cheeks got hot because I was just like, it's so neat to like feel that sort of love coming from other women who love weed, who are in weed. And also, especially, I feel like I don't think it's generational with us. I wouldn't call us different generations, but we are different ages. And I am watching you carry the torch in a new way for a new generation. So it just means a lot to, I think like come together, look to our elders and look to the people who are coming up after us and all sort of work together. You know what I mean?
I mean, you have set a I couldn't do what I'm doing without you having done what you've done.
Wow. Thank you.
Seriously, I will never forget sitting in a High Times boardroom having no clue what I was doing there and watching you walk in, and I was like, what? She's here? Like, I'm in the same room as Mary Jane Gibson? Like, this is crazy. And so, you have really done so much for other people in this space and allowed so many other women to be able to do things in this space. And that's pretty magical. And so I'm wondering who you're sending some flowers to.
Oh, well, thank you so much for saying all of that. It means a lot. I think at that time, especially on that day, I remember walking into that room and meeting you. It's a big fancy conference room in a glass-walled office where we couldn't smoke, and it was so weird. And I was feeling like very sort of detached from everything that was going on because I was with High Times, and it was like just a strange sort of evolutionary period for that publication in particular.
Absolutely.
And to meet you at that time was such a sort of fucking, to be cliche about it, breath of fresh air. Like, it was just fantastic to see you, your drive, your motivation, your generosity, your warmth of spirit, all that kind of stuff radiating out of you. You gave me a little reset that day, and I was like, I definitely can look outside what's going on right now and know that I'm going to connect with wonderful people in this industry, whether or not I'm here in this, in this particular role that I had at that magazine. So thank you so much. It's hard to choose who to send flowers to because like my role models in the industry, so many of them were like the OG women at High Times. Elise McDonough is one of them, who is just nominated to the Hall of Fame in the edibles section of Northeast Leaves Mag.
It's so crazy.
She's so wonderful. If you don't know her work, she published the Bon Appetit cookbook. She was the first ever edibles editor at High Times. She's just a wonderful person in the industry. And so I was thinking about Elise specifically, but then I also wanted to shout out Shalene Title, who, do you know Shalene?
So I don't know her personally, but I have conversed with her briefly online. And I admire her from afar.
I admire her so much, and she and I have gotten to speak several times this year for some articles that I've written about cannabis policy.
That's
and
so
I
cool.
just wanted to send her flowers because she is really leading the charge as the CEO of a policy think tank, a drug policy think tank called Parabola Center, to really keep people focused on, as we sort of like all watch this march toward legalization, to keep us focused on criminal justice reform, social equity, models that are going to benefit communities rather than corporations. And she's doing the work on the ground. She's publishing papers and really calling our attention to some of the corporations and corporate interests that are really maneuvering behind the scenes to ultimately benefit from federal legalization. She I think is just a really important voice. So Shalene Title is who I'm sending flowers to.
Those are two beautiful people to send flowers to.
And Elise, yeah, thanks.
Oh my gosh, amazing. And I know you mentioned, a little bit about writing and, of course, these people you've worked with at High Times. But, now, I mean, you've written for Rolling Stone, you write for Vox, you write for everyone. You've put out incredible pieces, and you mentioned writing for Vox. Mm-hmm. And I would love to start there and hear a little bit what you're working on.
Yeah, so I wrote for Vox. I think the first piece that I wrote for them was sort of breaking down like what the fuck is up with all of these different pieces of legislation that are moving through the government right now. And it's hard to sort of know if you're not really paying attention, like which you should be in support of, or not even which you should be in support of, but just like an explainer, basically. That's the thing about Vox, is that they really put out content for, fairly educated people who just want to know more deep dives about situations. So I love them for explainers about, like, I really turn to them when I don't know something about tech or, the economy.
Yeah.
They do these sort of great overviews. So I've gotten to write a few overviews for them about cannabis. One about all of the pieces of legislation that are moving through Congress. One about Biden, when Biden had that sort of, big announcement that he was going to reschedule cannabis or deschedule cannabis. And, that he was going to supposedly free all the prisoners. And so, what that really meant and exactly what was going on. Yeah. And right now I'm working on a piece for Vox about why some some pro-cannabis advocates are a little concerned about federal legalization and whether or not we should legalize federally. If it is indeed a good idea, or if we should just continue to go state by state and hold off and, gather data at the state level before legalizing federally. So it can be a little dry, but it's also really exciting, I think, because it's what's happening right now, and it's in real time, and it's reporting on something that I am really interested in.
Well, and this is everyone's access. And there's already so much happening on state levels that needs to be cleaned up.
Right.
And there needs to be so much more work. I mean, here in California,
it's a shit show.
It's crazy. I mean, it's really nuts. And we don't have to go too deep into it, but like every state is in a completely different place. They have so many different nuances that are so unique to them. Mm-hmm. If we can't even get it right on a state level, how do we think that's going to go federally?
Exactly. I think that's the concern, is that, if we legalized at a federal level right now, if we flipped a switch and we just said, okay.
Yeah, how would that even go?
How would that go? I think it would be a worst case scenario, like a doomsday sort of nightmare scenario, where if it were legalized immediately so that, Walmart or Amazon or any of those big companies waiting in the wings were immediately able to dominate the industry. And, big pharma and big tobacco and alcohol would really be able to dictate the regulations. Like, it's pretty terrifying. So I think, people like Shalene and other, pro-cannabis advocates are really asking lawmakers to take a hard look at that and figure out what works at a state level and what doesn't, and then apply that hopefully to any legalization moving forward. But it's thorny, it's knotty, it's complicated. It's sometimes really boring, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, but that's what I find so compelling and amazing about your work, is that you make those boring things a little more interesting.
Oh, thank you.
And a little more exciting. And that takes a lot of skill.
Thank you so much. I really, my career as a writer, I started as a creative writer. I was an actor. I went to theater school. So anything that I was writing was really for the theater. Mm-hmm. And then I started working as the culture editor at High Times. So I was doing a lot of lifestyle coverage and all that sort of stuff. And so then I really had to develop my reporting skills and take myself out of it and be able to report on policy without necessarily a point of view.
Right.
And so it's been a really interesting development, but I do hope that some of my creative writing skill foundation does come through, and when I'm just reporting pretty dry policy stuff.
No, and
thanks.
And it really does, and that actually makes, I don't know if I knew that.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Which part?
The part where you went to school for.
Yeah. So I went to theater school at the National Theater School of Canada. It's a conservatory program like Juilliard. So it's 3 years where you just are like super immersed, and then you pop out and you go on to be whatever kind of actor it is. A lot of my friends are from theater school or at like Stratford and Shaw festivals in Canada.
Very cool.
And just doing amazing work as actors and artists. And my path was a little different.
But isn't that what's so cool about being able to have that creative mind and being able to take on so many different endeavors, but adding your tone and your, voice to all of that?
I mean, I think that's what you do as well, like what we all do as sort of nimble, flexible creatives.
There we go. Flexible.
As,
You're like a Cirque du Soleil acrobat.
Let me just contort myself over here to sort of be able to do this job that I never thought I would be able to do, but somehow I can because I'm smart and I can figure it out in real time. So that was truly, So I was an actor in New York. And I was supporting myself doing all sorts of side gigs. And one of them was proofreading and copy editing. That's how I got my job at High Times. And then I worked my way up. And then they offered me a position after I'd been copy editing and proofreading and writing for them for a few years. So someone just reached out to me and said, hey, I want to start a career in canvas writing. Can you tell me, where to start? And I was like, honestly, my first paid work ever was a 100-word book review for High Times.
Wow.
And that was the very beginning. I got paid an insane rate. It was $1 a word. I got paid $100 for 100 words. Can you imagine?
Incredible.
Because it's certainly not that anymore.
No.
And I was, so I just said to this person, I was like, start where you are, write what you know, self-publish, and at some point someone will see that you are a voice that they want to hear more from, that you're an expert in your own world. Then that's kind of it.
You have to tend to your own garden to bring the butterflies.
Exactly. I love that.
I saw it on Twitter today.
Yeah,
I'm not claiming that as my own, but it fit for this moment, and I felt really good saying it.
You got to plant the right flowers that will attract all those butterflies and hummingbirds.
Yeah. No, I really do think that's beautiful, and you've attracted so many to your own garden.
Oh, well, thank you.
You have quite the garden, and I'm curious about the garden that's in your bag.
Oh, okay. I brought some treats. The first thing that I brought to share, I rolled you a joint because I didn't want to roll on camera because honestly, I got nervous about like showing off my rolling skills.
I'm a terrible roller.
I'm a shitty fucking roller.
I'm so bad at it.
I'm so bad.
Same.
You're not. I'm guessing that I'm not as good as you are. I've seen you roll. Okay. Well, if we can both admit that we're not great.
We should have our own roll off.
True story. I get so nervous when I roll in front of people that it takes me so long that I just finally just broke down and got myself a Futurola. Yeah. Which I have here because I was like, awesome. If I want to roll up in the studio, I'm going to use my Futurola. But so the first thing I have is this holiday limited drop from THC Design. Do you know this flower?
I do.
Okay, good.
It put me to bed.
It's so intense.
It's so strong.
It's the RS11. It's a cross of pink guava and OZK, and I don't know much more about it than that. But I rolled you up some, and I.
Oh my God, yes.
That's my first thing in my bag.
Wait, I'm so happy about that.
They also have a pre-roll that I just brought because it's like, cute with its little label right there. But this is my terrible Futurola roll of that for you.
Oh my God. Thank you. This is
welcome.
This is so good.
Well, Futurola. I use the,
I know, but sometimes I use it too, and it doesn't look like this.
It doesn't?
No.
Okay, so I'm good when I use the Futurola machine.
It doesn't look anything.
And we have our individual joints because
I love it.
Tis the season.
Tis the season to not share.
Tis the season to not share. Yeah, exactly.
Be selfish. No, I think so. What do you think though? I'm really curious. This is now off topic. I'm sorry, but what do you think of just the general like sharing in weed, especially now post-pandemic?
Oh man, it's so hard because everyone's just back to shaking hands. And I'm like, when did we agree to do that? When did shaking hands become okay again? Because I thought we just graduated to fist bumps or,
elbow thing.
Wing bumps, elbow bumps, or even just like putting your hands behind your back and just saying hello. So I don't know
kind
how
nodding at people.
Yeah. So I was like, I was pretty stoked to move away from the handshake. But then that's back. And then, I stood around in a circle and smoked a joint at some point, like in the last couple months. And I was like, oh, I guess we're just back to this again. I'm not... I love the culture of standing in a circle and sharing.
Right.
I miss sharing and being in the circle. But I just feel like it's the time. If you can afford it and you can roll up a personal joint for everyone and then you can all smoke together, I would say that's the way that I would like to do it from here on out.
That sounds amazing.
But if you can't afford it, because that's expensive, to be honest.
Oh, yeah. I'm thinking back to like college me, and I'm like,
what are you talking about? I'm going to pay for everyone else's weed?
Yeah, I barely could pay for my own.
No, thank you. So I guess, I mean, there are all of these ways around it now, like the Moose Labs.
Totally.
Those cool little like silicone mouthpieces.
Yeah, the mouthpieces.
Or you can do the old like the festival like.
Here, wait.
Yeah, which totally fucking works. So.
I didn't really do it correctly.
There, I got it.
No.
Well, if you try a different finger, there you go, and then like tighten up your fist. There you go. Yeah. So that's my hack. If I'm like at a party and I really want to try something, but honestly, I usually just have my own personal situation, and I'm not really sharing right now. You get your little tin, your doob tube, whatever, and you just go to the party, and if other people want to share, then I just hand it to them, and then I don't take it back.
And then that's it.
Yeah. Then you don't get it back. And that's unfortunate too, because recently I was somewhere where I had something that I really wanted and someone hid it, and then I was like, damn it. Oh well, just have a moment of generosity.
That happened to
Enjoy.
me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was tough. We were at a Halloween party. I guess it was like almost 2 months ago now, but this person like was very inebriated and came up to us and was like, weed, essentially. And I was like, it's low-key a weed party, but like,
yeah,
sure, we can share. Yeah. And so we had literally just lit it, and it was the couple's joint. And it just, it was gone.
Damn.
We each got a hit, and my boyfriend came up to me and was like, I'm so sorry. We don't have the joint anymore.
Just watch it walk away. Oh, what? Damn it.
Yeah. I mean, we had more. Like, we had plenty.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's like, especially we're so fortunate in the world that we move in. Like, there's generally enough to go around. And, but if it's something really special, like these limited drops or, anything that you find I got handed one jar when I was up in Santa Rosa I can't remember, it must have been a Hall of Flowers. And I got handed one jar of something called Mr. Freeze from Blueprint. Oh. Do you know those guys?
I do. That's very good weed.
It was so crazy that people, like, I could see people with their eye, they looked like Gollum with the ring. I was like, God. Oh shit, I just got handed this jar and people around me are straight up going to try and snatch this from me.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Blueprint?
It was very special.
That's very good weed.
It was very good weed. I will go on the record as saying it was, I think maybe the best I've had. So
that's why I asked you what's in your bag, because you always have like the best stuff.
Thank you. I feel like I'm always around people who have the best stuff, and so they show me what's good. Like, I would never pretend to know without other people showing me. I feel like I'm that way with weed, and I'm that way with music. I really know my way around a lot of things that I love and have like a lot of knowledge about, like theater and writing and all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to music and weed, I trust my friends who know more about both of those things to show me what's good, and then I also have it. So, it's sort of like by osmosis a little bit.
But you're a discoverer. I feel like you know discovery, and you have great taste, and you're able to curate those things where not everyone has that ability.
Thank you. I have pretty strong opinions and likes and dislikes. I am pretty.
You know yourself.
I do. I definitely do. I'm like pretty. Yeah, when I hate something, I'll get pretty loud about it, and when I love something, I'll also get really loud about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry. I have another question then.
Oh, yes.
What is like the best musical weed experience you've had?
Oh, the best musical weed experience I have ever had is when I've never liked the Grateful Dead. I don't like Noodle.
That's totally fine. I'm not a Deadhead.
I'm not. It was a real
Which
problem.
Maybe I now will be like canceled. I shouldn't have said that.
Well, no. I mean, I kind of was effectively like when I was, always surrounded by people who loved. Of course, we all know the Grateful Dead heads are, lunatics. the Grateful Dead, Fish, String Cheese, all of the noodle bands. And I was like, I was in love with a guy who loved, the Grateful Dead and traveled around. I'd never
We've all
gotten
been
it.
there.
I couldn't do it. Yeah. And then for a long time, I was like living in a house with a bunch of people. We were working at Cannabis Cup, and I was there for like a month. And they were like hardcore Deadheads. It was constant, just like the sound of the nitrous tank and the Deadhead noodle in the background while dabs and joints were going around. And it was a very fucking wild environment. Very chill, very mellow, but also I remember one day I put on NPR and I was told to immediately turn it off. And I was like, I've been listening to Grateful Dead 24/7 for like 3 weeks. I just want to hear the news. And they were all like, turn it off. But anyway, it was that kind of house.
Oh my God.
But my perfect musical weed moment was when I don't remember what it was that I had smoked, but it had put me on the couch.
Yeah.
It was the afternoon, late afternoon, that California sun coming in through the window. The rays were like piercing the smoky haze over the couch. The Grateful Dead was on in the background, and I could like see the notes. And I was like, I fucking get it. I get it. I understand. I feel it in my bones. I feel it moving throughout my body. I feel how the music is actually traveling in my blood and my cells. I can see it outside of me. My like brain started just like crackling and radiating outside of my skull. That was the moment where I was like, oh, holy shit. So that was my favorite. I've had so many. I mean, smoking a joint at any concert, literally any concert.
No, of course.
Is just it.
But I mean, I felt like you were going to give me a really amazing story, and that was beautiful.
Oh, the one time I understood the Grateful Dead, and then I went right back to hating them. I never smoked that particular, I never had that combo again. So it's not like I like the Grateful Dead, but I did understand them for one beautiful, sunny, hazy afternoon.
Okay.
And respect to all of the people who love, I mean, truly, they're the most amazing fan base and community. And I wish I could find my way in, but I just can't. I like weird, like other music and stuff.
They have amazing shirts.
They have, I mean, I
wear them all the time, and people always think that I'm really into the Grateful Dead.
Yeah.
And I don't think I could name a song.
Let's not even try, because we're going to offend some people. So let's not try.
I'm like, maybe we should move quickly off this topic.
Yeah, I'm going to name something that everyone's going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe she said Touch of Grey. That's so stupid. But like, I love the way that Deadhead culture has moved into hip hop culture.
It's very cool to see how it's graduated over the years. And it's like, there's very few things in general, even outside of music, that can be timeless.
Yep.
And so I think that's really cool that it's transcended its, what it was, and it's so much bigger than that.
Yeah, it's like, because the intersection of Deadhead culture and weed culture now coming into hip hop and street culture. Mm-hmm. Like when you see those new shoes, like those crazy new drops that are like all the hype beasts are wearing, and they're tie-dyed and furry with bears on them. I was like, whoa.
Right?
It's so interesting to me. And it's something that I definitely do, like, I don't know anything about, but as a casual observer, it's exciting to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the hype beast world is definitely something I peer into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I live at Melrose and Fairfax.
Oh, well,
so it's like
you literally peer into it like through the windows.
I walk past all of those drops along that stretch of Fairfax, and I'm like, what are these young folks so excited about? What are they lining up for? What are they doing?
Yeah, it's crazy how the drop culture has also come into weed.
It's like fascinating.
These drops.
Yep, this is a limited drop.
Yeah. Which has always been kind of what weed is anyway.
Always.
But like now that it's like a marketed thing. What?
Yeah, you're so right that it was always that. It was always the limited drop. Like I remember the first time I ever heard of Sour Diesel, and I was at the office and everyone was so excited, like on, getting their hands on, however that QP was broken up, everyone made sure to get some.
Right.
And then when it was gone, that was it for another however long.
Then
maybe it was Strawberry Cough the next time or whatever that, those strains from like 2005. It was
totally
crazy. And now it's all these different like crazy crosses. And, it's more about the grower and not necessarily like cultivar related. And then we're like, who's behind it? It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wild world. Okay. Do you have anything else in your bag?
I do. I mean, I just brought a bunch of like sort of like show and tell stuff. I wanted to, do you know the Cupsy?
Yes.
This is just one of my favorite things.
Isn't it so cute?
That I just keep in my car. If like anyone doesn't know, it's the Puffco coffee cup bong.
Yeah.
And you just like put water in it, and then you move the bowl over. When you open it up, you just move the bowl from the
to your
storage
camera,
space.
to the good people.
Yep. And so you pop the bowl out from its storage space into its little spot there, and then it's the best, and you can just keep it in your coffee cup holder in your car.
I was about to say, your cup holder.
Yep, it's fantastic. I just love it as like a show and tell thing, because I just had the other night, I was at a friend's house and she had weed, but she didn't have any way to smoke it, and I just ran out to my car and I got this, and then she loved it so much that I got her one for Christmas.
Oh, that's so cute.
I know.
Wait, that's the cutest present. And
right? Yeah.
Perfect segue, because I did want to ask, maybe your show and tell will be just kind of part of this whole thing.
Okay.
But you have everything as a stoner.
I'm lucky to have a lot of stuff.
You have many things.
I have many things. I'm lucky to have many things. Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone were to give you something, you would gift someone the Cupsy.
I just bought one for my friend. Shout out Kate. Oh, she doesn't know she's getting it, but she'll have it for Christmas. Maybe
we'll like keep this part a surprise.
Right. Okay.
Bonus episode.
You don't know which Kate. I have several Kates in my life.
Well, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
Kate, you're getting a good gift.
Yep.
But so what would someone give you? What would you want?
Oh, you can never have too many cool rolling trays, and you can never have too many glass pieces. And I know you're blowing glass now, which is like honestly the coolest thing. I've watched your journey on Instagram, and it's like so fucking neat. I would love to hear all about it at some point.
We'll do that a different day.
Yeah.
But I do have a I don't have it here for you.
Oh.
I have a pipe for you.
Oh my God.
It's
I'm
a
so
Gandalf
excited.
pipe.
Okay.
And it's the best thing ever.
Oh my God. I can't wait.
But anyway, that is what I'm going to give you actually.
Amazing. Yeah, like it's like it's honestly it's the accessories, because I feel like I'm always around such great weed. Like, I'll go over to someone's place and they'll have a little homegrown to share, and then like I'll get a little gift drop from a friend in PR, and then like I'll come to this studio and I'll run into someone like Roger, and he'll be like, here's a jar of amazing, Grav Labs glass tip joints or whatever.
Yeah.
So like I love learning about weed from, like I was saying earlier, like, friends who have great weed. So if you're going to give me something, it's the accessories. It's the accessories for me. I love pieces. I love trays. I love cool grinders and papers. Oh, I actually brought, I think papers are sort of like an overlooked part of the industry, because good papers are really hard to come by. What do you think?
Don't even tell me about that.
Like everyone's like, Roz, I just read something where there was an influencer of some sort in the New York Times. It was like a piece about weed culture. Or no, it was just like, who's cool in New York nowadays? And this guy was like, I'm super into raw. And he was supposed to be this cool dude who was like in the know about stuff. And I was like, that's so weird that you would say the paper that is like arguably, and I don't want to hate on them because I think Raw have done amazing stuff. And they've they've like pushed the industry forward. But they're certainly like, not the only paper in town.
No, and I'd say controversially they aren't the best.
Right.
But I mean, so to preface, I'm not a papers person.
Oh.
I'm totally glass first.
Yep.
And I've always loved glass, just forever. It's why I worked in glass. It's why I like blowing glass. Like, I don't know what it is. I just love it. And it's always my preference. Papers is always like an on the go, a podcast. Like, I'm never like, I have to have a joint. It's nice for a walk. It's nice to like, be mobile.
Yep. I think that's the thing for me is I love to be mobile. And also I'm an ex-cigarette smoker.
Okay.
And
same.
So the pleasure that I get from smoking is it satisfies that part of me,
I totally feel that. When did you quit, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, I used to smoke like all the time, and now I'm just down to having a cigarette at like a party occasionally. So I wouldn't say that I've 100% quit, because I've had a cigarette recently. But I stopped smoking, like really, really smoking kind of when I moved to LA. Yeah. I moved to LA from New York, and in New York I was like, with all the rest of the stressed out New York smokers.
DC to LA.
Yeah.
So exact same.
Yeah. And then I moved here and I was like, oh, people are so against smoking that there are whole towns where you cannot light a cigarette. And I was like, maybe I'm just going to take a cue from that and let it go. Yes. But I still do. I really do love a spliff. Like I was just in Amsterdam recently and I was like, oh yeah, I do miss that kind of European, tobacco weed situation.
What do you think of California banning menthol and flavored tobacco?
So it didn't pass though.
Wait, what?
I thought it didn't pass. Did it pass?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I thought it didn't. Wow.
No,
okay.
I'm pretty sure it did. I literally
no.
saw like I bought blunt blah, I can't even say it. That's how infrequently I buy blunt wraps. I can't even say it. But
bought blunt wraps.
Bought say that 3 times.
Bought blunt wraps. Yeah.
I bought them and I never do that because I don't even know how to roll a blunt. I'm just hoping I'll have them around and someone will do it. For me.
Oh man.
But
yeah.
I saw at the grocery store it said last call. Flavored and menthol tobacco.
Wow. Well, one of us is wrong, and whichever one of us is right gets to be like, I told you so when we look this up after the pod. No, I think whichever way it went, I'm not in favor of banning anything ever. And I think specifically that's aimed at largely, as I understand it, like, the people who smoke menthols are, Black people, communities of color who were targeted specifically by this ban. And I'm not really in favor of I think that it's about personal choice and, like I want full decriminalization for all drugs, every drug, Right.
Totally. I agree.
So I don't ban anything. Don't ban soda. Don't ban cigarettes. Don't ban drugs. Just educate and have programs in place for people who, all that good stuff. Harm reduction, massively in favor of, but so I didn't realize it had passed. Wild.
I'm sorry to give you that news.
Ugh. I mean, not like I was going to run out and buy menthol cigarettes or anything, but that's so...
It's crazy. I know. So what are these papers?
So these papers they're called Z's Life. Do you know them?
Yes.
And they're so cute. And the guy behind them is a young entrepreneur. Is his name Zach? I can't remember. I'm going to get it wrong. But I do know that he started this company himself. And it's a really cool sort of like very artistically packaged, beautiful set of papers. And the papers are really nice too.
Have you used the bat?
No. Does he have a special bat?
There's like a bat joint packing tool that he has.
Oh, cute.
And it's so cute. It's gold.
See?
And it's so clever.
Yeah. It's like all of the, it's also just elegant. I think like it appeals to me as a woman who, the first time I ever got really stoned was doing hot knives off a blowtorch in a basement. And then, it was like bong rips with dudes in basements always. And I think that was part of my, my nervousness around weed was sometimes it would be too much for me. I would get stoned at a party and find myself standing in a corner, not knowing how to talk to anyone. And so when I was like, maybe I can roll a personal joint, I can sort of like control my own intake experience. I can also have like love low dose edibles in California. I don't need to eat that 100 milligrams, whatever. So I was like, when I found I could be a lower dose intaker and that I felt really social at that level, I was like, okay, now I understand something about myself. And that's been really nice because it's been a long journey. I mean, I smoked my first, that hot knife in a basement was at this point 30 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
And now like we have these kind of things. I mean,
shout out Roger with the Cupsy and every Puffco design. I met Roger 10 years ago and have watched his journey from like really just coming up with that first Puffco pen to now dominating the industry.
Oh my God, the Puffco pen.
The pen. Remember that pen?
I do remember it.
Yeah.
That's a throwback.
Fuck yeah. And I have them. I have like every generation of Puffco, everything from the beginning. That's part of like my shelf of like how I've watched shit develop. It's been really neat. I feel very fortunate. Yeah.
No, and the Proxy.
Is very cool. And they have a silicone one now that like you put the Proxy into.
I did see it. I haven't used it yet.
Yeah, so
but I imagine it's amazing.
Have it on the go, like for concerts and stuff, because that glass piece is beautiful, and you put it in your bag with your water bottle and
boom,
smash. So they've got a silicone version. Silicone or silicon?
Silicone.
Silicon Valley, silicone pipe.
Valley, yeah.
Got it. These fart moments in my brain, I'm always like, wait, I have to stop and like log that because otherwise I'll forget. And then I'll say the wrong one at a party and everyone will laugh at me.
I usually just say the wrong thing and keep going.
Right? Yeah. With confidence.
Just steamroll.
Move forward.
I steamroll ahead. I can be honest about what it is.
Yep. Exactly. So that was another thing from my show and tell. Z's Life. Check those guys out. I'm not sure even where they're available, but I think he's an East Coast company.
I really want to say yes, but I'm not 100% sure.
And then I have, I just wanted to shout out these guys because I love their fast act. Do you know Fruit Slabs?
No.
So Fruit Slabs.
I've heard of them, but I haven't used them before.
They were started by a person who just wanted like a vegan fruit leather with weed in it. And I can't remember his name. And I'm sorry,
cool.
I'm forgetting it.
That's okay.
But now the company is run by Brandon and Maggie, who are awesome. And I ran into them in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like so sick of Vegas. Vegas was so smoky and boozy and all nighty. And I was just like, I need something to help me feel okay.
I'm not a big Casino Vegas person.
No, I didn't enjoy it. I was feeling very like pulled really tight. And I was like, I'm just looking for something that it will totally relax me. And they gave me several bags of their Fruit Slabs, and they saved me. So yeah, they're these awesome little fruit leather. They're like fruit roll-ups.
Whoa.
Yeah. And it's delicious.
That is so cool.
And each piece is, they do the whole California dosage thing. So.
Oh, I have to check those out.
Yeah, here.
Sure.
Well, I brought them for you.
Oh, thank you.
And this is their
very cool.
This is their fast acting. I've eaten half of them. I'm sorry. I'm giving you a half-eaten bag.
I gave you like open stuff too.
We're just sharing as friends.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm classless, and I didn't bring you a fresh pack, but that's
totally.
And these are their sour slabs, and they're fast acting, which I love. That's another development that I love in edibles is the nanotechnology that. It just makes it easier for people who are nervous about edibles. And it's awesome. And
when you're out, like you were talking about, when you're out, I have found that I'm usually a heavier edible person, but 5 to 15 is great for social situations.
Yep, it's perfect.
I don't know. It just my anxiety is kind of leveled out, but I'm not so high that I'm like, haha, what's going on? I'm just in a good spot.
Yep.
And I don't drink anymore. And you were saying that you took a little bit of a break.
I did. I took some time off drinking and just had the, the sober, what's it called? California sober experience.
Yep.
And, but that really did mean I will never stop my use of psilocybin. And that particular stretch of time, I wanted to replace any alcohol consumption with weed. So I was drinking all of my weed. It was all cannabis beverages. So I got to do a tour of all of the cool, because I knew about there are a couple that I had known about, like the hi-fi hops and PBR has a infused seltzer and a few others.
Right.
But I really got to experience. There's one called Mad Lily. Do you know about Mad Lily? They were like a hibiscus infusion. It was freaking delicious.
Yeah.
There's one called Godspeak, which is 100 milligrams a can, which is from what's the name of the brand? I'm gonna forget it. But anyway, the Godspeak is their high infused version where it's 100 milligrams a can. That was great to go to bed. So yeah, it was really nice to tour the world of weed beverages, because I think the weed beverage market, I don't know how it's doing as far as data goes, but I think it's one of the most exciting parts of the edibles market.
Yeah.
Oh,
I totally agree. I mean, I don't know if everyone is going to replace an alcoholic beverage with a weed beverage, but I know I did.
Yep.
And I know a lot of other people who have at least been exploring that, and they'll ask questions about it. And I think that, as people explore their relationship with alcohol, you don't need to fully stop or whatever that is for you.
Yeah.
Work it out with you. But I know for me, it's been a really nice transition. And especially I know you're not allowed to do this, but I'll go to a bar now with friends and I can enjoy a beverage. I'll have a mocktail. I'll put something, I'll mix something in it, the powders or one of those syrup shots or whatever. And I can enjoy my own night. They can enjoy theirs. And we can all be present in each other's company the way we want to be.
Exactly. I love that. That's something that I learned from a friend recently, was to order one cocktail. If you want to have just you're sort of, you enjoy your boozy cocktail experience.
Yeah.
And then you ask for a bottle of Club Soda or San Pellegrino, and then you top that glass off with whatever, weed syrup or tincture you have on you. And then you just continue to enjoy the night, and nobody knows that you switched over. If that's a problem for people who are going to be jerks about being why aren't you drinking? Which is, a huge problem with alcohol culture.
Totally.
So, and I that's just a fun new development that I think, we both enjoyed, obviously.
Yeah. Oh my God. I love that. It's always very, it's just nice to talk about that, I think, more openly too, because alcohol, especially on the East Coast.
Oh my God.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
It's a very different culture though.
It's intense. I grew up in Newfoundland, which is a very Irish culture and, super, super, super drinking culture. And, lots of great hash as well, which was fantastic. When I was, a kid, it was like there was plenty of like weed and mushrooms and LSD available as well. But, the culturally is super drinky. And, then I lived in New York for a long time. And that is like go all night, go hard all night. Like the bars close at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
It's
but then there's another secret bar that you can go to.
Always. I remember I used to go, the bar would close at 4 a.m. and then you go to your friends until 6 a.m. and then you would go to the first place that opened for brunch at, whenever it was, 7 or 8 a.m. and just start your day with, it's like there was a period of my life where that was like a pretty regular thing.
Totally.
And
brunch.
I'm glad to have experienced it, but also glad to, have moved on from that.
Do you still brunch by any chance?
No, I don't, because I worked so many brunches. I think they're sort of cruel. I don't feel like it's great for the servers or the bartenders. I used to love brunching, but
cruel.
I don't know. I just feel like I worked so many brunch shifts as a bartender, and people are just mean at brunch and they don't tip. So I don't really go to brunches anymore either, unless they're at my house, and then I would serve you a great brunch at my house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I will make you like some blueberry pancakes with some. Oh, I just saw on Sarah's El Sayed's Instagram, she was making some kind of infused tincture with, what did she make it with? She made some yummy infused weed syrup that she put on blueberry pancakes, and it was it looks so
know what you're talking
delicious.
I don't know what fruit
I know
that
what it was. Buddha's hand. Is that what it's called, or Buddha's palm? It looks like. Anyway, long story short, I would find some weed syrup to serve you over some pancakes.
Oh, well, that sounds magical.
Doesn't that sound nice?
I mean, you're the queen of weed.
Oh,
but
no.
You are also very much the queen of grub.
Oh, the queen. Well,
because you have a show called Weed and Grub.
I do have a show called Weed and Grub.
I didn't lead into that very gracefully.
Well, no, I would just say I'm not the queen of weed by any stretch of the imagination. But
I'd say you're at least like, amongst the royal court.
Oh my God. Well, thank you. I feel like there are just so many people that I could point to who I would say wouldn't pack that court. I don't know if I'm on it, but thank you. Weed and Grub is, yes, it's my podcast that I do with Mike Glazer.
Mm-hmm. Very funny.
Very funny comedian. And, I think High Times named him as one of like the most influential people in weed last year. Like,
he just tweeted about it today.
Oh, did he? That's hilarious.
He tweeted about all his accolades from 20 what year?
Oh, 22. he did the wrap up of like, here are the things.
His little wrap up.
Nice, because he's got like, he's been on the road
he's
touring.
Really crushing it.
Yeah, he's crushing it. And so our podcast, Weed and Grub, I get to hang out with Mike, and basically our idea was that cannabis and cuisine are going to be the cornerstones for like conversations about basically anything. Like if you smoke weed and eat food with someone, you're going to be able to just open up conversations about whatever you want to talk about. Mm-hmm. And that also involves for us talking to guests who aren't necessarily like, maybe they don't even smoke. Like Trixie Mattel came on the podcast, and Trixie didn't at the time smoke, although I just read her, she tweeted and she was like, I just bought some marijuana. How do I do it? I was like, oh my God, Trixie, come back.
Come back. Yeah.
So
part 2.
It's great. I mean, we talked to the creator of Animaniacs. We went out to Tom Ruger's house and like talked to him about, the world of cartoons. Like it's definitely not always weed stuff, but we also talked to people who are in the cannabis industry. Like, for instance, Puffco's Roger Wolodarski, and we've had you on the podcast. And so,
she's had way better guests than me. Trust me. You have incredible guests, seriously.
We're super, thank you. We're proud of our guests. And, but it's because we've been going a long time. Like we're coming up on like 330 episodes, I think, right now.
Are you going to have a party?
I really want to have a party.
I'm like, let's have a party.
We should. Well, I think we got to pick a number. 420 is too far away, but yeah, I think maybe we should have a party for to celebrate some kind of milestones, because it does feel like a big deal. This year in particular, we started recording in the studio. That felt like a really nice level up to go from like producing the podcast ourselves. Yeah. And when we were doing that, that's when we actually had some of these amazing guests like David Crosby or Roxanne Gay or Jim Belushi. It was like we were dealing with people who were hugely famous, and we were doing it ourselves. So in order to move into a studio and then be able to have this sort of like professional production happening has felt like a really big evolution. So yeah, I'm really proud of the pod. I'm really proud of our guests. I think my one of my proudest moments this year with the podcast was having Philippe Cousteau and his wife Ashlyn Cousteau on the pod, because my dad was a fisheries biologist. He studied salmon and trout. And my sister was a shark biologist. My grandmother was also a marine biologist. So I have this, background of all of these scientists in my family.
Wow.
And so to have Philippe Cousteau and Ashlyn Cousteau on the pod, and just, sort of like share that with them a little bit, and then hear their stories about just how they've married marine conservation with now their weed line, which is seaweed naturals, I think. And it's great because they're giving a percentage back to marine conservation, all that kind of stuff. So it was so cool. It felt like a really neat dovetailing of like, holy smokes, this like marine conservationists, the grandson of Jacques Cousteau, on my podcast. Like, wouldn't my family be proud if they could see me? That felt cool.
That is incredible.
Yeah, it was like, when
what
those moments happened,
circle moment.
It felt great, and I was pretty stoked. And I think that, especially because my journey into weed wasn't necessarily always not that I was unsupported. I was pretty lucky in having a supportive family, but certainly not understood. They were like, "Wait, you went to theater school. What are you doing?"
We're all scientists.
Yeah.
You were supposed to be doing this thing.
Yeah, you were supposed to be doing, theater.
Do they smoke?
No, none of them at all.
Really?
But my dad's grandmother, who was not the marine biologist, like smoked opium in India and was like traveled around in the like 30s doing crazy stuff.
Wow.
And then my sister and I took mushrooms together, and she dropped a ton of acid, but weed didn't work for her.
Yeah.
And my dad never, like very late in life at the end, he tried some gummies for sleep and stuff, but he was never a smoker. So like I have, family who are like open-minded about stuff, but they weren't necessarily, or they didn't smoke. They weren't smokers.
Wow.
Yeah. But I was like, it felt really cool because they didn't always understand what I did.
Yeah.
And then with that episode, I was like, this is why. It's because I'm talking to these people from this world about how they're merging their world, their marine conservation world, with the world of cannabis. And that's, how cannabis is moving into all of the parts of life. Like, it's always been a part of, obviously, music and culture and everything, but it really is infusing its way into more things openly, I think, at this point. And I love that.
Wow, absolutely. And I mean, even when it comes to food, I find that you're very thoughtful. Like, even you bringing me this special latte, the golden latte. Even that, you had a story behind it, and it was so, it was just so heartfelt.
Oh, thanks. I mean, I shout out Jim Walsh.
Yeah.
Because he brought me my first golden latte, and I was telling you, we met it was like a business meeting, but he brought it because I don't know, he's a very thoughtful person, but I think also because he wanted to make a good impression. Yeah. And I thought of him today, and I was like, I'm going to go see Liz. I'm going to bring her a golden latte because I want to make a good impression. Yeah. And also I think because you would truly enjoy it, because it's like the fanciest fucking latte. It's like delicious. The most vegan LA situation that you can imagine.
It's from Erewhon, and I love Erewhon.
Yeah, it cost $200.
No, but really? That's so cheap, though.
Yeah, it was very cheap. $200 my firstborn,
Yeah, Erewhon, for anyone listening that's not in California.
It's basically,
it's like the bougiest grocery store you could go to, but they do have they are around because it's very health conscious stuff. I don't really think it started as this kind of trendy.
No, I think it was a very crunchy,
it was very
crunchy hippie situation. And then they decided, and then they were like,
then they rebranded.
We can monetize this.
Yeah, they monetized it very well.
Yeah.
And so now, like I literally ran into Spencer Pratt at Erewhon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Of Heidi fame.
Yeah.
Spencer and Heidi.
Yeah.
Spidey.
I was like, are you Spencer Pratt?
Oh my God.
Are you live on TikTok right now? And he was like, I am. I was like, what?
I remember one of the funniest names for him when they were doing their whole thing, and they were sort of famous. There was a website that I used to read, I think it was Delisted, that called him Fleshbeard because his beard, his blonde beard was the exact same color. Liz is joking. Fleshbeard.
We can keep going.
It was just, it was so perfect because you can't unsee it once you see it. Like his blonde beard was the exact same shade as his tanned skin. So he
Wow.
just looked like his beard was made out of his skin.
This is wild.
I know. That's what I remember about him. And that goes to prove the power of good writing. To bring it back to writing. Like you can really, this is where AI, robots, those things will never replace us, because that fucking wit and that comedy of that person who came up with that name,
Yeah.
you can't generate that from an AI brain, I don't think.
Yeah, no, I saw you had some pretty strong thoughts on that. I know I want to get you to writing your piece.
Oh, right. I'm on deadline.
You are on deadline. But
I was like, I'm going to go do this podcast and then go back and keep
but
writing.
I do want to hear really quickly. I know you had some really strong thoughts on AI art, and it's a really crazy time. Like for things that you can do today that you couldn't even do 6 months ago.
Right.
What?
It's crazy. Excuse me. I'm a little bit concerned for the future of writers with this Chat GPT-3 bot that's, everywhere right now in the news, and it's generating all of these pretty fucking amazing scripts, Rick and Morty scripts, or tell me a story of getting a peanut butter sandwich out of the VCR in the style of the Bible. I don't know if you saw that one.
No, but it sounds incredible.
It was beyond,
Okay.
and it's spitting it out in like 5 minutes, so it's a little terrifying. It's still requiring the human ideas to be input.
For sure.
But it's, how long will that last for? So I was like, that makes me nervous as a writer. But then also I hopefully believe, I hope and believe that, the human brain and wit and all that sort of stuff can't be replaced. Remains to be seen. I think that college students are going to all be using that shit to generate their term papers.
Okay, for sure, right? That was my most immediate thought.
Oh my God.
I was like, so...
Because it's all original. It's not plagiarizing, right? It's original content. You feed in the ideas and it spits out. I mean, this is going to happen. It's already happening.
I would totally write a paper with that.
1,000,000%. I skipped like 32 weeks of school in high school. I would have used the shit out of this bot. Are you kidding me? But it's also scary. The Chat GPT-3 bot isn't the thing, or whatever it's called, isn't the thing that scares me, though. It was the and it didn't scare me, but the Lens app was what I think I was railing against it on Instagram.
Yeah, I didn't do it.
I didn't do it either, and it was mainly because I started reading some opinions from friends, or not even opinions, but just like they were laying out the facts that the stable diffusion that was used to create that AI art was taught using the original works of artists who were uncredited, and also their art was still visible, even in some cases with the signature. It's like, guys, this is not ethical. No, it's not. And so there was that, and then also just that weird, maybe it's a fear that I should just let go of, because I'm afraid of the inevitable, I guess, is that this kind of art is going to replace human artists. And, one of my favorite artists right now is a friend, Andrea Guzetta. If you haven't seen her work, follow her at Andrea Guzetta, for, beautiful oil paintings that are incredibly detailed, of like skulls and animals. And it's kind of in this Lisa Frank meets medieval style. And it's so beautiful. And I fear for art like that to just get co-opted by these, AI. They'll just scrape her work and then it'll make something that it says isn't hers, and then it's for free and it took 5 minutes, and I just, it freaks me out. Sorry, I got stoned and rambled about that for a minute.
No, that's okay. I mean, I agree. I definitely think, on the one hand, like, these are new tools, and if you are super creative, you'll obviously be able to come up with like maybe better things than like the average person. But also, I have put in pretty basic prompts, and it spits out some pretty like good stuff. Yeah, like to where I'm like, interesting,
right? Like it might need a light edit, but and that's right now. So just imagine. I think I was listening to, there's a great podcast about tech called Hard Fork, and I was listening to them, and they were predicting stuff for 2023, and they were like, the next version of Chat GPT is going to be above and beyond, and this is just going to do all the writing. It won't be able to replace podcasters, though.
Yeah. You're stuck with us.
You're going to need to tune in to listen to real humans for now.
Yeah, until they like mimic our voices or something. We'll have to start doing the roller coaster thing to bring it back around. We'll have to start doing some really crazy things with our voices to make sure people don't copy us.
It's just like going back to theater school where you're taught to use your whole range.
We'll be new characters every other sentence.
Why are they so sing-songy? Yeah. Well, it's more interesting. There are definitely some podcasts that I listen to where it's, you know, God love them, but just two bros just like droning on about fucking whatever it is that they're droning on about. And, you know, again, God love them, but I love hearing, you know, voices that get excited about things and get real high, go real low.
Well, welcome to Send Us Flowers, because you are here. You've been here. Well, okay. Before we fully say goodbye, do you have anything else in your bag to show us? Any other announcements or highlights that you want to share?
I have a bag of sumo snacks because I know you know them and I just dig them so much.
Yeah, they're yummy.
They're super yummy. And full disclosure, they've been a sponsor of my podcast this year, and I just wanted to shout them out.
Yes.
Hope that's okay on your podcast. But
oh my God,
they're just like really cool people.
I love sumo people.
Yeah, they're like great folks behind the brand.
Yeah.
And they're doing cool stuff, and they're supporting comedy, and they're supporting a lot of like cool live events in LA, and so it's just great. And they're like 100 milligrams a bag, and they're just, and this is also for you.
Oh, thank you.
And they they're just like savory snacks, and I dig them. So, and you know, there aren't enough savory snacks. Like that's the fucking niche that they excuse all my swearing, but that's the niche.
You're totally allowed to curse on this podcast.
The fucking niche that they identified. I just think it's really smart because there's not nearly enough, so many chocolates and gummies and all that kind of stuff. And this is, you know, they're savory and spicy.
Corn chips, too.
They're great. Yeah. I use them for, there's a salsa verde tortilla flavor. It's perfect with some, you know, pico de gallo when you're watching a movie.
Ooh, now I want to pick up some garlic dip.
Ooh. Okay. Like from Zanku, like that kind of garlic dip?
Like, you know that Greek... like garlic.
Oh,
I don't even know what it is.
Like tzatziki, you mean?
Kind of, but it's just a garlic spread.
Okay.
I don't even know.
I'm down to try.
I'll bring some for you next time.
Okay. So the glass piece and the
yeah, exactly. I'll make we have a list.
Are you sure you're bringing all the stuff for me? No. That is all though. Those are all the treats today.
Okay. And then you have your piece coming out on Vox?
Yes. So the current, the piece that I'm writing right now should publish right before New Year's. It's on whether or not we should legalize at a federal level, and just looking at that sort of idea of, you know, some reform advocates say maybe not. And then you can find all of my writing. There's a link tree in my bio on my Instagram, which is currently @thisismaryjane_. And that's where you can check out what I'm up to, and
I love it.
Any pieces that I've written. You know, read my piece about why edibles are good for a quickie in Playboy. That was one of the most fun ones I've written.
Okay, I'm gonna totally link that so that it's just.
I mean, it's
right
an old one, but I still have it on my link tree because I was like, that's
so
fun.
Cool.
Yeah,
that you wrote for Playboy. Like that's historic.
I felt like it did feel like a cool to check that box and be like, you know, I get to share. I think since then they've even stopped doing editorials. So I'm glad, like, if that's true, that I squeaked in under the wire.
Oh my God, we're gonna have to frame that. Like, I'm not even kidding. Some of these websites are just going away.
I know it's really bad time for media. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
We gotta print that out like today.
I know. I don't even know if it's still on the website. I should probably check my link tree to see if it's even active.
Everyone go Google it. So it starts getting like higher ratings. And they'll be like, we have to keep this on here.
Oh my God. Everyone needs to know about fast acting edibles for a quickie.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, I think that'd be I'm going to go read
It's goofy.
that.
It's goofy.
But no, and then any new Weed Grub episodes we should be staying tuned for?
Yeah. So we have Ashley Ray on the Weed Grub that I think will have come out just before this drops.
Okay, very
Ashley
cool.
Ashley Ray is a very cool comedian, cultural TV critic, stoner, all around wonderful person.
Amazing.
And then we've got some really cool guests coming up in the new year, but we are also kind of moving back to a format where Mike and I are just going to hang out.
I love that.
It's so, I mean, it's like this, you know, when you're just chilling with someone that you really enjoy rapping with, like you don't necessarily need to be concerned about conducting an interview. And I think so that will be a lot of...
this didn't feel like a formal interview for you? you?
No, I mean, it felt like I felt like a cool hang with someone that I like. I hope that's cool.
No. Damn it. No,
Damn
that's
it.
fine.
I think, we decided that we just want to do more of that. And so we are definitely going to have some awesome interviews, but also just chilling, hanging, snacking, and smoking. And then
I love it.
We've got live events coming up. We've got a show on February 5th at SF Sketchfest, which is a really amazing comedy festival in San Francisco. And there are all sorts of amazing people who are going to be performing there. We have a live podcast at 4 o'clock on February 5th with a bunch of great comedians. So I'm looking forward to that too.
Wow. All right. So it sounds like you have a strong start to 2023.
Yes, like the universe willing, I'm very excited to hit the ground running after taking 2 solid weeks off. I hope you're taking some time off for the holidays too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you're not. You work so hard. Oh man.
I'm taking some time off like later in January.
Good.
So I don't know if anyone knows that, but
well, you're the
it's
hardest
gonna
working gal around. All hats off.
No,
to
you are.
I'm not, but
you are.
I like to give the appearance that I am. Well, I am going to go after this. I'm going to go right.
No, that's what I'm like. Literally, like you have to leave to go meet a deadline. So you can say whatever you want to say.
Thank you. But after, when I file that piece, I'm going to take some solid time off, and I'm really stoked because I have like a bunch of cool experiences lined up. I'm going to like a mushroom therapy spa situation.
Wait. Okay, I know I said it, but do you have time to tell me about that?
Yeah. I'm stoked about this. So there's a new place that's like one of these, sort of wellness clinics that's opened up, but they're focusing on psilocybin.
Really?
And and so they mailed me some mushroom gummies with varying dosages, and I'm gonna go check out this spa situation. And I don't know what it's gonna be like or who's behind it even. Like I'm not sure. Like, should I be wary of this, or is this something that I should really be excited about? I have no idea. I am excited about it because it's a new experience, but also I think that is an interest. Like that's why I want to go.
Absolutely.
We need to sort of go and look at these things. And
you
figure
discover
out, like,
things.
Yeah, and also like like I also got sent a ketamine protocol, and I am gonna try a 4-week ketamine protocol just to see how that works for me. Ostensibly to write about it, but also just because I'm interested.
Have you done ketamine before?
Only like at a party. Yeah, and so.
Same.
Yeah. How was your experience with it?
I was like pretty messed up. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like already, we were at a festival.
Okay.
And so that was the first time I tried it, and I was rolling. I'd done plenty of other things. Mm-hmm. It was still fun, but I was very messed up. I don't think that was like solely that. Oh, there was actually one time I did try it on its own, and that was fun. Okay. It was a vibe. It was very relaxed. I didn't have like so much that I entered like a K-hole or anything like that. I just felt really good, and that my anxiety was gone. But at that time, I mean, I was so young, I didn't really even understand what anxiety was yet. Like we were just kind of like starting, I feel like, to be more open about those conversations. Depression was more popular then.
Back in the day when depression was popular, anxiety hadn't really peaked yet. But now it's OCD. We're on to the next or whatever.
Exactly. And so
everyone's self-diagnosing with OCD nowadays. I'm like, Jesus, okay.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, we could go through a laundry list of things that I've had, thought I had, have.
Sure. I think we all, have them to some degree. I have diagnoses for days. So.
Yeah, for sure. And so, I just felt, I felt weightless and at peace, very similarly to how I did with mushrooms, but it's a little less trippy. Mm-hmm. And it is heavier. Like it's more like, if you've ever done like a Xanax or something like that, it kind of has that like that weight to it, like a weighted blanket.
Sure.
But
well, my experience with it was like a pretty big dose, and I don't know if I would call it a K-hole, but I was watching Yellow Submarine, the animated movie starring the Beatles. Nice. For anyone who doesn't know, it's a crazy trippy movie
Crazy movie.
with a group of friends, and I was like in sort of like a pit couch, and so I definitely did feel like really pressed down and sort of, you know, disconnected in a strange way.
Right.
This particular protocol that was mailed to me is specifically for depression and anxiety.
So they got both of them this time.
Yeah, we'll
Great.
see how it goes. But yeah, I was given a PTSD diagnosis several years ago, and so, you know, this company had reached out and said, "Are you interested in knowing more about this to write about?" And I was like, "Well, in order to write about it, I would need to do it." And
For sure.
they asked if I, you know, would be a candidate. I hopped on a telehealth appointment with a doctor, and they determined that, you know, they were like, it might work for you. So we'll see. So I'm going to do the ketamine situation over the holidays. I'm going to do this mushroom clinic because I use mushrooms as a reset myself fairly often. So I'm interested to see what can this spa offer, maybe a set and setting situation for someone who doesn't like have a safe space in their home.
Right.
You know?
Oh my gosh.
That kind of thing. Like there's some people who just like
absolutely.
can't get away from the kids and the dog or whatever it
I
is.
did not even really think about that. Totally.
I'm interested to see. I'm very interested to see like what they offer, because I'm also very suspicious that they are, you know, just capitalizing on this new wave of psychedelic therapy, and, you know, they're in it for the money. More often than not, that's the case, right?
No, it's chill. It's weed. It's mushrooms.
We'll see.
No one's here for that.
Maybe I know.
I don't know how they're here for that
That's
right
so
now
crazy.
because it's just
there's no money in weed right now. It's all collapsing. The industry's burning.
Everyone's all like, "Oh, you work in weed? You must be making so much money." And I'm like,
and then you just open MJ Biz Daily on any given day, and they're like, Weed Maps is laying 25% of its staff off, or Cresco Labs just like huge layoffs, or, you know, and then again, it's like massive MSO acquires more small companies to consolidate the industry. Everything's just like, oh no, it's all terrible, but it's not doing well in the sense that people are not making money right now. And, or very few of the people that I would consider to be the wrong people are making money.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to watch too.
Yeah.
And then it affects the people who smoke weed.
It really does.
Like the whole point of all of this, at least in my mind, which I know people don't agree with, it's crazy, but to have access.
Fucking access. It's crazy that in
Like,
California,
just period.
that, you know, Prop 64 was passed, and then 70% of California banned dispensaries. So anyone who's like, ooh, California is like a marijuana mecca or whatever, which is, you know, a term that does, especially in the mainstream media, they're like, California, it's just like weed shooting out of every doorway or whatever. Actually not. There are like
smells everywhere. Like, it's actually very not true.
Very not true. I am baffled by the amount of places that you cannot actually access cannabis. Not by delivery, not by a store. You just can't get it. You have to grow your own.
Yep.
And that's a pain in the ass.
They still do local raids. They still have, you know, enforcement go in and like take stuff down. Absolutely.
Everybody's screaming about the traditional market, like outpacing the fucking legal market. Well, that's why. Hello.
Yeah.
Anyway, we could fix a lot of problems on here, Liz.
I know.
All of our opinions are right and good.
Oh my God. I have no arguments. If anything, I'm like copy, paste.
Oh man.
No, I could honestly talk to you forever. I'm hoping you come back next year and tell us about, which is weird to say, and tell us about, you know, your piece that came out, what people's responses are to it. And, you know, all the other incredible things that you're working on.
Thank you. I would love to. I have some things that I'm really stoked about for the new year. So thank you for having me on. I love all you do. This is just great. It's been such a cool year to watch you blossom and grow. And congrats on your pod.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you for being here. And thank you for being amazing.
Thank you for being amazing.
Okay, we could do
flowers
all day.
Flowers.
You have to go meet deadline.
I have to go write.
You have to go do work.
Yep.
Because you're not a hard worker.
Nah. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna walk my dog. I'm gonna walk my dog first, though. Priorities.
Archie.
Yeah, walk your dog first, then work.
Yeah, perfect. All right, thanks everyone for joining. Subscribe. Find Mary Jane, all her incredible work, Weed Grub, upcoming shows, upcoming episodes. But she doesn't work hard. It's fine.
I'm a slacker.
Yeah, total slacker over here. All right, thank you.
Thank
Goodbye.
you. Bye.